What's up everyone? Kenny Rogers once said, with a deck of cards you've got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. But Lamar Odom, he didn't hold them, he didn't fold them, he found Todrick's cards and he ripped them up. We've got so much to talk about, so welcome to your live feed update. Now folks, right before we get started, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and while you're at it, please hit the like button and the bell icon. It literally takes 2 seconds to do so, and I would appreciate it greatly. Okay folks, now I will say, just before we jump into the live feed updates, where I am now, we are going through a storm, so if you can hear loud winds and etc. in the background, I'm blaming the storm, so I apologise for that folks in advance. I'm apologising for the weather, but let's jump into the live feed updates, which I'm not apologising for at all, because despite the craziness that has been happening, I guess, over the past week in the Big Brother house, the fact that Lamar Odom is standing up to Todrick is giving all of us life, and it's just it's wonderful to see people in just lying down and taking his BS. So that's going to be quite a lot of the conversation today. It's going to be Lamar standing up to Todrick and not taking his, basically, which I absolutely love. I think it's brilliant. But of course, I didn't do a live feed update yesterday, so we'll quickly go over, I'm sure you all have heard by now, but we'll quickly go over the nominations in the head of household. So Todd rose to power as the new head of household, which kind of came as a shock to quite a lot of people, and he decided to nominate for eviction Carson alongside Lamar. So Lamar and Carson are nominated for eviction, with, I believe Carson is the target, but I feel like for popularity reasons, the viewers have switched to Lamar now as the person they want to see saved over Carson after Carson's blunder of a head of household reign. So yeah, I mean, I'm all my, I guess the phrase would be when they say don't put all your eggs in one basket, my eggs are going in Lamar's basket. That sounded weird, but I'm rooting for Lamar right now. The guy is a legend. He's so unintentionally entertaining, and on top of that, he just doesn't take. He's not going to be talked to in a disgusting way. He's going to stand up for himself, and he stands up for can't get my words out, folks. He stands up for other people. I'm just so excited that Lamar is actually standing up to Todrick. So we've got all that to talk about. So let's actually talk about what happened with Lamar and Todrick. So Todrick requested a pack of playing cards, a deck of playing cards, and Lamar decided to rip them up. He ripped every single card up, and Todrick was so annoyed. He was kind of going, and I know you're thinking, oh, this is all childish and everything like that, but listen, I feel like you can't really call Lamar childish after the cynical, nasty, cruel things that Todrick has been saying about and to other house guests. So ripping his playing cards up, he had it coming. So he ripped them up, and Todrick was, I can't believe you've done that, and then Lamar was basically saying, I can't believe some of the things that you've said and done or talked about doing in here, Todrick. So he is like locked and loaded. It's brilliant. Like Lamar is just, he wasn't ready to lie down. Like Todrick came back with him saying, oh, I can't believe you've done this, and then Lamar was ready to hit back and say, I can't believe the way that you've been basically conducting yourself in this house and the things you've been saying. So Lamar, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. It's great to see somebody standing up to Todrick, because I know all of us viewers out here would love to be the head of household that got to put Todrick on the block. It would and send him out the door. Imagine being the sole vote at Final Four to send him out the door. Imagine how good that would feel. Oh, that would be wonderful. But anyway, I'm glad that Lamar's standing up to him. Great to see that people ain't just lying down. Salute to Lamar for that. Now, another interesting conversation that happened between Lamar and Todrick, and this is another point where Lamar stood up to Todrick, which was quite wonderful. Basically, Lamar said to Todrick, Miesha's a beast, just complimenting her, and then Todrick went to talking about Shayna again, because he seems to be obsessed with talking about her. It was Carson at one point, and now it's Shayna. He just loves shaming her and saying nasty things about her, he was saying. But in 2022, do you want to see the white blonde girl get to the end? And Lamar jumped in and said, colour of someone's skin doesn't matter. And then Todrick came back with saying, I'm not saying it does. And then Lamar was like, why did you bring it up? And then Todrick said, I'm just saying, like with nothing to back up what he said. Lamar, you are, I can't even, this guy went probably from maybe about half the way in my rankings on my favourites on Big Brother this season to pretty much all the way to the top, just from the things he was saying yesterday. He was spitting facts, he was talking the truth, and he was standing up for the disgusting things Todrick was saying. He was standing up for the people that are getting ridiculed and bullied by him, and I just pardon me, folks. Thank you so much, Lamar, for doing that. I mean, and he's right. The colour of someone's skin doesn't matter in the game of Big Brother. It's just Lamar basically was talking about later as well, and this is the perfect way he said it. He said that people should be judged by their character, not the colour of their skin, and I just think that is wonderful that he said that. It's crazy. I've seen a lot of people saying that Todrick has taken everything the Cookout's done and made it toxic, which is kind of true, because I loved the Cookout last season. They were so good, and Todrick's kind of just taken that, and he's only using it when he feels is necessary. He's taken the Cookout's mission statement, but only when he needs to guilt trip people and make people feel guilty and try and get people out, and it's sick and it's disgusting to watch. And he's just he's vile, in my opinion. He's vile and disgusting. One of the worst people we've seen on Big Brother ever. I know there's some contenders up there as well, but man, Todd. And to be fair, I haven't really been around on YouTube to commentate on certain seasons like BB15 or BB21. I started the live feed updates in All Stars 2, and there hasn't been an awful lot of that kind of thing, but Todrick has just been horrendous in my opinion, and I can't wait to see him evicted, or at least lose 9-0 in the final 2. He is not a nice person, and I really think he needs to leave this house and do a lot of self-discovery and learning and become a better person, because the way he treats people right now is absolutely vile. The way he talks to people is absolutely vile. The way he views other people is absolutely vile. He truly thinks he's above everybody else, and somebody like that is intolerable in my opinion. And I'm going to go out and say this as well. I feel like if anybody defends Todrick and defends Todrick's behaviour, then you need to take a good look at what you're thinking, because if you can excuse the behaviour he is making, the things he is saying about people and people's families, and shaming people for the things that they're wearing and their physical attributes, I just think he is not a nice person at all. If you feel the need to defend Todrick, I know there's probably only about 0.5% of you guys who probably will do it, and this isn't me being nasty to y'all. I just seriously think take a second guess. If y'all are out there defending Todrick right now, take a second guess. Now, as a punishment, of course, it wouldn't be Big Brother without a punishment, would it? Todrick and Lamar have been chained together by a tether rope. I feel so sorry for Lamar. I mean, the punishment is supposed to be being tied with somebody and having to wear a silly costume dressed as a lime. The punishment, really, what we're all seeing from the outside, is being chained to Todrick for 24 hours. Oh my God. Imagine that. Oh, jeez. I put out on Twitter. My Twitter's up there, folks. I might as well plug it while I'm talking about my Twitter. I put out on my Twitter, if I was chained to Todrick for 24 hours, if I had to have that punishment, I'd automatically expect to be voted America's favourite player. Imagine, oh God, you could just see at different points in the day. I suppose it gave us good feeds because Lamar just wasn't taking it. Because Lamar was just so past Todrick. Every little thing Todrick would say where he'd be egotistical and talk about himself, Lamar was just, he wasn't having it. There was a brilliant moment where they were in the living room. It was Todrick and Todd and Lamar, and they were talking. Todd and Todrick were having a conversation about tours and shows and etc. And saying like about flashlights and you can't have these on at shows or whatever like that. And then Todrick jumped in and was like, I know, I've done 5 Broadway shows, and then he just has to boost his ego all the time and let people know, it's that classic where somebody says they've been to Tenerife and then that other person, Todrick, has to say, I've been to 11 Tenerife. So he said that, I've been on 5 Broadway shows, and then Lamar just jumped in and was like, nobody gives a what you're talking about and stuff like that. It was something along those lines anyway, but Lamar just was like, I don't think anyone gives it. And then Todrick leaned into him and was like, excuse me? What did you just say? Like, were you talking to me? And then Lamar was like, I was talking to myself and everything like that. I just think Lamar just didn't have the energy to get into it with Todrick, but we both knew, and Todrick knew as well. We all knew that Lamar is just sick of Todrick's BS, and I'm so glad that Lamar isn't kissing his ass and lying down, because we see so many times in Big Brother where people just, to try and get themselves an extra week in the game, you know, they lie down and kiss the HOH's ass, or somebody who's in power, and Lamar just doesn't care. I just think it's brilliant. I was talking to someone on Twitter yesterday about how I love the fact how he's not putting the game ahead of his morals. He'd still rather call somebody out for being a total. I like to keep it PG on this channel, but you can insert the word there, folks. Use your imagination. He's not excusing someone for being a total whatever, and he's actually calling someone out when they're being a total whatever. So yeah, Lamar has brightened my day yesterday with the live feeds. He didn't care, and he called Todrick out when he was being a total whatever. Okay, we've got another segment of Todrick talks trash about somebody else. It really does seem like all the other house guests have been kind of lost in translation over the past 24, 48 hours, because Todrick has just been so vile and abhorrent about people. He just continues to take centre stage, not for the right reasons. But I'm glad that I've got this platform to be able to shed light on it. And I mean, I'm not obviously the person delivering the news, because it's on Twitter, it's on Instagram, it's on Facebook, it's on the live feeds, for goodness sake. But I am glad that I can be a voice that doesn't silence what Todrick is saying. I am glad I can be somebody who can stand up right now and say, this is what Todrick's saying, and people need to hear it, because people who behave like that don't deserve to go unheard. People need to hear about what they're doing, so people can see their true character. Especially when he has kind of gotten famous and grown his career off people subscribing to him and people supporting him. People need to know who they are supporting, or not supporting anymore, I guess. So anyway, he was talking more trash about Shayna, saying it was just kind of, he continues to fixate on ridiculing her for who she is and how she's got to where she is. She was saying, you know, he can understand how Shayna has got that. This isn't my words, by the way, but Todrick did say, you know, he's saying she's got where she is because of her looks and because of her boobs, and he was that I didn't say that. That was Todrick, as I just said there. He just seems to be totally thinking that Shayna is just some scum of the earth, and she's only kind of got where she was because of her looks. And why? She's gone. She's out the house. I mean, like, you can keep those thoughts to yourself, even though they're not nice thoughts, but it's the fact he continues to try and berate her as a person and talk about her as if she's some nasty scum. Like, the only nasty scum in that house is Todrick Hall. Every single day I'm becoming more and more kind of just like, I feel like Lamar every single day. Like, I'm just kind of giving less of a hoot about trying to remain positive about this. Well, no, actually, no, that's not true. I'm going to take that back. I always have the intention of trying to remain positive when I do these updates. However, when somebody's being negative like that, I have to talk about it. I have to talk about it because it's just outrageous, and I'm not just going to turn a blind eye to it. And I'm glad Chris Kirkpatrick didn't do it either in his exit interviews. Same goes for Teddy. All these people who were talking about Todrick and the things he said, I'm glad that they haven't silenced it and turned a blind eye to it. They've talked about it. Thank you so much, guys. I'm saying this to the jurors right now for coming out and talking about that. Thank you so much. And although I'm not a house guest, I still want to be able to be a voice in this situation, and I want to be able to talk about this because, as I said before, when people talk trash about someone, people should know about it, especially if you're doing it on Big Brother and expecting to come out the other end with all your fans and people loving you, because that's not going to happen when you're being a cruel and nasty person. That is all of your live feed updates for today, folks. I thoroughly hope you all enjoyed watching. Literally today was just, I guess, a super cut of talking about everything that Todrick's been saying, because Cynthia seems to have disappeared. There's no signs of life from Miesha very much, apart from her being the receiving end of what Todrick's ranting about and talking about. And Carson's kind of just gone under the rock or under a shell because he's on the block, and then Todd's the head of household. He's made his move of putting Carson and Lamar on the block, and Lamar's just not taking anything, and I just love it. So anyway, that's basically the highlights. Of course, lots of other things did happen, but I always like to kind of focus on the big things that happened, and and then you can kind of just get a good gauge for what's happened the past 24 hours in the house. But folks, thank you so much for watching. I'd love to hear everybody's thoughts on how you're feeling about the house right now. Todrick's behaviour, let me know your thoughts on that. Lamar, how are you feeling about Lamar? Who are you going to vote for America's favourite player? Are you happy with Todd as the head of household? There's so much to talk about, folks, so let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. But folks, thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching, as always. I really do appreciate it. I hope that you're all staying safe, staying positive, and staying healthy out there. And remember to be kind to one another. That's a really important one. Be kind to one another. I think today's update has literally emphasised that one. Be kind to one another. But in the meantime, folks, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Do all of that good stuff. But until your next live feed update, I've been your host, Tom Vasey. Good night.